Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Samantha, and today we are going to talk all about what my son is doing for middle school. He is in the 7th grade, and if you don't know about our family, we are a classical conversations family, so my son is in Challenge A. When I was initially looking for information about the Challenge A program here on YouTube, the majority of the videos are from people who were part of CC and who enjoyed CC. The videos were so many years old. And then the other people who share on YouTube with CC are people who are no longer in CC and basically talking about why they quit. So we are a family who so far have really enjoyed our time in classical conversations. We've been in it for 3 years now, going into our 4th year. My son only did 2 years of Foundations Essentials because he was public schooled before that, and his first year in classical conversations was 5th grade. And so the Essentials program is 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then they move into the Challenge year starting in 7th grade. So this was my very first kiddo who did Essentials, and also now my very first kiddo who has done the Challenge A program. And we are about to go into our last quarter of CC. So with that being said, it is a program that I initially was hesitant about. I was nervous about it. I wasn't sure that it was something that I wanted to continue on with, but my son has thrived in Challenge A and he's really enjoyed it. And to my surprise, with him being in it, my daughter, who's 11, going into the 6th grade next school year, is really looking forward to Challenge A as well. And again, I wasn't sure that it was something that I was going to put her in because they're very different thinkers, but she's excited for it. So as far as my family is concerned, we are thoroughly enjoying classical conversations and it's working well for our family. So it's different for every family, but I did want to get on here and put this video out because like I mentioned, there's not a lot of pro classical conversations videos on YouTube, especially for the challenge year. So while we continue to be in CC and while it continues to work, I hope to bring that positivity here on YouTube just to give you guys another perspective on it. So without talking too much more, let's go ahead and get started, and I can show you guys everything that my son has been doing for 7th grade, which the majority of it is the Challenge A program with just a couple of extra things added. So let's start off with this stack of books that they read in CC. And one of the complaints that CC draws for the Challenge program is that some of the books and the literature that they're reading is below level. And I kind of wondered about that myself, but the thing is, they're not just reading these, doing a little bit of reading comprehension and moving on. These books pair with their writing program. So every single book that they're reading, they're also writing a paper on. And so because of that aspect, I think it's helpful to the student to give them something, especially at the beginning of the school year, below grade reading level, and also that they're interested in reading since you're pairing it with writing, which for a lot of times you can have reluctant readers or reluctant writers, and having interesting books to write about helps, I think, both of those aspects with reading and writing. So it has worked out well for my son. He's enjoyed all of these books. Some of them he had already read before, but I didn't see the problem with it, especially since he was able to learn how to write persuasive essays well using these books. And I don't exactly remember the order that they're reading these in. I know the last one is The Bronze Bow because that's one he's currently reading, but I'm just going to show you guys these as I have them here. I'm not sure if my son gave them to me in order or not. So the first one that I have is The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. And if you guys hear my baby, my oldest daughter's down here hanging out with our new little girl, so you might hear some baby cries here and there. The next one is Carry On, Mr. Bowditch. And then we have The Magician's Nephew, Number the Stars, A Misfortune Freeman, The Secret Garden, The Door in the Wall, A Gathering of Days, Crispin, The Cross of Lead, And then last but not least, like I mentioned, the bronze bow. So I think he did actually go ahead and give me these in order. My son, before we joined CC, was was definitely a reluctant writer. Writing was something that he didn't enjoy, he didn't like, and I'm so thankful for IEW. That program really brought out the writer in my son, which is what they do in Essentials for 3 years. And then moving into, and he also wasn't that big of a reader. He would read what I told him to read. Every now and then he would read what he wanted to read, but reading just wasn't something that he loved to do. But he has really enjoyed all of these books and gotten through them this year. Let's go ahead and start with the first subject, which is Latin. This is the Latin first year, and this is the grammar book that goes with it. And I have it completely tabbed out for him to be able to go in there and find everything that he needs to find very easily. It goes along with this Latin A workspace, and they do, the workspace A is for challenge A, and then next year when he's in challenge B, which is 8th grade, they do the Latin A workspace all over again, but then they also add on another layer and they will do the Latin workspace B. So they do this first year of Latin that they learn in challenge A, they'll do that all over again in B, and then add on another part, and every year they'll continue to go through it. So like I mentioned, in Essentials they do IEW, and I absolutely love that program. I sing its praises every time I talk about curriculum on here. I even have a whole curriculum review video on IEW, but when they move into Challenge A, they move on from IEW and into the Lost Tools of Writing. And I've actually really enjoyed this as well because it's teaching them how to write in a different way. So the IEW is teaching the structure, the style of writing, and even though they stop doing IEW when they move into Challenge A, they still have science papers that they're writing every single week, and those science papers are, the kiddos are implementing everything that they've learned from IEW. So my son has a laminated checklist of all of the things for structure and style from IEW that he has to check off, and that I will check for him to make sure that he's still using all of those principles that he learned in IEW. But with the Lost Tools of Writing, this is teaching them how to write a persuasive essay. So the big difference is they move on from a keyword outline to now using an Annie chart. And so this is what the Annie chart looks like. This was for the first book. So for the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, they read the book and then they come up with an issue, and then once they decide on what their issue is, they will write, they have this chart here where they will list out their Annie. So A for affirmative, N for negative, and then I for interesting, and they'll put that in there, and then that's going to be how they write their persuasive paper on whatever that issue is. And so this takes them all the way through it. So once they have their Annie chart, they go from their Annie chart to the outline, and it's completely laid out here in the book for them. So they'll write their issue out again, and then there's the thesis and the proof. They'll check off whether they were in the affirmative or the negative, and then it just has all these questions here that they'll answer. And then they need to have 3 proofs to support their issue or their stance, where they stand, and then they'll have and then at the end they'll come up with their conclusion and their introduction. So a lot, some similarities in how it's outlined to IEW, but as you can see there's differences as well. And here's more of how that outline looks. So you have your introduction, your thesis, your enumeration, your exposition, which is your 3 proofs, and then you'll define your 3 proofs like as your topic paragraphs, and then you'll have your conclusion and then your summary of your proofs. So that is that, and the papers in here start off very, very short, and over time they build up. And in the beginning you think that they're not really doing all of their work because the paper's so short, but they increase. Okay, so then, also I wanted to show you guys, this is the Challenge A guide. And again, we tab this off. This is my son's version. If you are newly going into Challenge A, or you're coming from public school and you're starting maybe challenge B or challenge 1, my advice to you would be to buy 2 of these. Buy one for yourself and one for your kiddo. It's so much easier for you to keep track if you have your own, and then for you to give one to your kiddo so that they can really just have access to it themselves to see what to do. And it has a checklist in here of everything. So if they have their own, they can check off their work in here. Or what my son ended up doing, we tried planning a few different ways this year. In the beginning of the school year, I was using a planner, and I was going through here and I was writing everything out for him, and then he would go back in here to check off, make sure he had it done. So he was kind of like double checking off, so like his planner that I would write out plus in here. And then he started doing his planner on his own, then decided he didn't want to do the planner anymore. So what he ended up doing was writing out kind of a chart that had all of his subjects. And like there's read, memorize, bring, read, copy, make, review. So he would write he had all of his subjects and like what they're having to check off every week. And so he laminated that, and so he just uses that now to check off when he's done that on whatever day of the week. I hope that makes sense. If not, I can ask for his permission to show that to you guys one day further if you're interested. Okay, so the other thing that they do that's really important with Challenge A is cartography. And so this is the cartography book. This is all about world geography. They are learning about, you know, where everything in the world is. What's really neat is they learn how to draw the world. And they're drawing these maps every week. And essentially by the end of Challenge A, they're able to draw the world from memory, which I find very interesting. And for me, for my son, I wanted him to have more than just how to draw the maps and locate everything. I wanted him to have more information about all of these areas that he was learning about. So I went with the Geography 3 from Memory Press and added this on. And so this was a world geography credit for him, his very first credit. Okay, so one of the other really cool things is starting in this grade, they're now starting to learn about logic and fallacies and things of that sort. And so the book that they used is The Fallacy Detective. They're still working out of this book really, and he's been really enjoying it actually. So it's really, really cool to see him like calling out fallacies now with regular conversations that he has with people or with us, and then also just watching the daily news. And so that's a lot of fun to see him learning and understanding these fallacies. And then we have the Words Aptly Spoken, Children's Literature and Introduction to Literary Classics. For each book it has review questions, so it's more of a guide for like help with all of the books that they're reading for reading comprehension. We didn't really do much out of this just because I didn't look into it very much, and now that I have, wish I would have done more. So definitely it is a good guide, especially if you want to make sure your kids are understanding what they're reading. It has lots of review questions in it for every single one of those books that they're reading in Challenge A. This is just his, these little journals here are really awesome. It's just a notebook of graph paper, and this is what he's used to draw out all of his maps for cartography, but also for anatomy. So in the first half of the year, they have different science topics that they are introduced to, I guess you could say. And then within that realm of science, they then get to pick something on their own and write a research paper about that. And that's where they're using their IEW structure and style. And then once they move into the second half of the year, they move into anatomy and physiology. In anatomy, they're learning all about the parts of the body, but along with that, they're also learning how to draw. So this, for example, so this would be his skeleton that he drew. And then, so here's where he did the brain. So every week it's a different part of the body that they're learning how to draw, and they do like depends on you. You are still the lead teacher. So I have him do one drawing per week. Same with his maps. He does one map per week. If your kiddo needs more practice to be able to memorize all of the body parts, or the maps and things like that. You can do more than that per day. But he really loves drawing, and he gets really into detail with his drawings. Here's another one. He gets really into detail with his drawings, and because of that, he kind of like, once he draws it once, he kind of knows where everything is. So I only ask him to do it once a day, and that seems to have been fine for him. Next, we do Wordly Wise every year, and I kind of went back and forth on adding this in for him because the jump of the workload from 6th grade into 7th grade is huge for a CC kiddo. But I went ahead and did it anyways, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing it because it's really helped him a lot with his vocabulary over the years, and it's something super simple, easy, and quick to add on. So this is the Wordly Wise Book 7. He's been doing Wordly Wise since he was in kindergarten and public school, and when I took him out, it was familiar to me, it was familiar to him, so we've just kind of kept up with it. And so again, I think because of that, I think we're just going to keep up with it anyways and just keep adding it in. It doesn't hurt. And then we did a couple of different math programs this year. He started the year off finishing up teaching textbooks Math 7. And I was looking into other programs for him, not really sure what I wanted to do. And it took me a while, so I ended up settling on Principles of Mathematics Book 2 from Master Books, and he's actually really enjoyed this curriculum. This author of this math curriculum doesn't go up higher than this Principles of Mathematics. So as I'm looking into his next math level, we aren't quite sure what we're going to do yet. I think we have an idea. A lot of you wonderful moms told me about Learn Math Fast, and I have been looking into it. I had all of my kiddos do the placement test, and it's really interesting to my husband and I, so we're kind of considering that, even for my son. But I was also, one of the things that all of the other kiddos in his Challenge A class do is Shorman. So they're all doing Shorman, and in my mind it kind of seems easier just to put him in Shorman as well, so that they're all doing similar problems. They aren't doing math together at community day, they're just bringing problems, and it's more of a conversation. So I'm not sure, but he has been using this year and enjoying it very much. And my other thing with Shorman is because it's online, I've learned through the whole him doing Matthew C and teaching textbooks, he always preferred the work in Matthew C. And now that he's in this book, he definitely prefers math in textbook form versus an online program. So I think that if we don't do the Learn Math Fast program, what really worked from him before was Matthew C. And so we might just go back to Matthew C, and maybe, I know this was pre-algebra, and he's almost done with the pre-algebra year, but we might do their pre-algebra, or, go up a level. I'll have to do a placement test for him as well, but we'll see. I think those are our options next year. Either just moving forward with Shorman, which I don't know that that's the best fit, so that's, kind of lower tier idea, or going forward with Learn Math Fast, or back to Matthew C. So that's that, and that's all of the curriculum. It is a lot of stuff, but I also wanted to share with you guys his binder. This is something that I got for him and set up at the beginning of the school year, and it just has notebooks in here here's the planner. So I went ahead and just got him the planner that Classical Conversations sells, and that's what we were using, but like I mentioned, he doesn't use this anymore. So in here I have the 5 common topics, questions for each strand here for him to have easy access to. And then he has for logic is math. So he has the math trivium that I have here for logic. He's also got a folder here, and he has a spiral notebook. I have a folder for each strand just in case anything was being sent home, but he also has a notebook where he writes down a problem, and they take a problem to CC Community Day every week. And then he's got, and I just, you know, just normal tabs and folders in here. So the other thing that I have for grammar is the Latin trivium. And my son has said that all of these triviums are really helpful. So if you are going into Challenge A, I highly recommend going on the website and getting these. It's just really quick to have what they're looking for all right here in one place. So he's got that. He's got a folder here. And he also has a notebook that goes with that. And then I also have a noun declension chart here for him. Just so that he can do some quick declining if needed. But he has really taken to Latin, really enjoys it, and has learned it well, and doesn't really need the charts as much anymore, or at least not right now. And then he has his research folder, and this is just where he was keeping all of his science papers that he was taking in. And then he's got his reasoning tab and folder, and then same with exposition, which is all of his exposition is his writing. So his lost tools of writing papers are here. And then he has a little cheat sheet here for exposition that I put in here for him, an overview. And then he has his Challenge A. So the other thing that they're doing with geography is they have these like sort of flashcard things that they cut out, and then they write definitions. So they're learning definitions for all sorts of things in geography, and he has all of that here. And then he has his debate folder. So that's everything in here. My son is way more minimal than I am. So he doesn't use a whole lot of the things in here that I put in here for him, but it was good to have him set up with it. And I'll probably do the exact same thing for my daughter. I would rather make it for them and then have access to it and not use it than them not have it and need it and then scrounge around to hurry up and get it done. So with that, that is Challenge A. I hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing all that is included with Challenge A, a couple of things that we have added to it, and a little glimpse of some things that we are going to potentially changing or doing as far as math next year. And I already put in our Challenge B order, so I can't wait to share that haul with you guys because I got some other things along with it too for next year. So if you guys enjoyed this video and getting a glimpse into all things Challenge A, go ahead and hit the like. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you have any questions about Challenge A or want me to go further into anything else, more about our experience or whatever it is, this video is already getting kind of long, so I don't want to go too much more into that. But if you're interested, let me know down in the comments. I would be more than happy to film another video. But that's all I have for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!